Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a truly extreme psychological and social experiment. Imagine taking two complete strangers, locking them inside a massive, completely isolated white chamber, and telling them they have to survive in there together for 100 days. The catch? If they make it, they split a massive vault holding $500,000. But if either one of them taps out early, they both leave with absolutely nothing. We're going to break down exactly how this $500,000 isolation experiment actually unfolded, all the way from the initial shock to the agonizing decisions that cost them thousands of dollars. Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to put yourself directly in the shoes of our two contestants here, Susie and Bailey. When those blindfolds came off on day one, it was literally the first time they had ever laid eyes on each other. You kind of have to ask yourself, could you honestly handle 100 sleeps in a featureless white box with someone you just met, knowing the entire world is just carrying on outside without you? Part 1. The White Room Experiment. To really understand how an environment like this breaks the human mind, we need to look at the first phase of their timeline. This room was explicitly designed for sensory deprivation and sheer disorientation. Think about these parameters for a second. There were no windows, absolutely zero sunlight. They were provided enough healthy food to last the 100 days, but it was essentially the exact same bland meal over and over again. Plus, they had to deal with intensely bright overhead lights that actually physically stung their eyes. And most crucially, no clocks, no phones. They had absolutely no sense of time whatsoever. And all of this is happening while a visual display of that $500,000 cash prize is just staring them down. That total loss of time hit them almost immediately. Because they didn't have any natural light or clocks to orient themselves, on just the very first night, Susie and Bailey made the massive mistake of sleeping for only 2 hours. They woke up feeling totally refreshed and started their entire second day, literally cooking chicken and settling into a routine, at 2:37 in the morning. In those early days, they honestly tried everything to keep their minds active. By day 4, they were tearing up pieces of journal paper just to craft a makeshift deck of playing cards. By day 5, they were getting creative, making fake sign-in sheets for the camera crew just to trick someone into writing down the current date. But eventually, the sheer boredom really set in, and the inevitable tension of shared isolation took over. As Bailey put it, it quickly transitioned into feeling like being trapped in a room with an annoying sibling. Part 2. The Temptation Tests. Now, what's really interesting about this phase is how the creator shifts the experiment from simple endurance to active psychological warfare. A completely new mechanic was introduced here. Every 10 days, a door would open to the outside world, and they'd be offered a temptation, basically something to make their remaining time a whole lot easier. But to get it, they had to deduct the cost straight from their shared prize pool. Let's trace this out. Day 10 brought a private chef. Day 20 was smart beds. Day 30 offered small comforts like coffee and books, and Day 40 was an entire movie library. Their financial discipline early on was honestly staggering. Think about it. On Day 10, they rejected a $50,000 private chef, even though they were eating nothing but canned chicken. On Day 20, staring down another 80 days under those blinding lights, they astonishingly rejected 2 smart beds and a light switch for another $50,000. But by Day 30, the psychological strain of that white nothingness finally cracked them. They spent $10,000 on a coffee maker and another $10,000 on the Harry Potter book collection. It really shows how, in total isolation, small everyday comforts become so much more valuable than literal fortunes. They finally traded away some of their prize money for a psychological lifeline. Then, on Day 40, they were offered a massive library of movies on a new TV for $10,000 a pop, but they flatly refused. Why? Because they managed to completely outsmart the system. This is wild. They took a frayed wire, ripped it from the wall, and actually jammed it into the TV's antenna port. By doing this, they managed to pull in a free digital broadcast of a car race. Suddenly, 2 people who had never cared about racing in their lives were completely captivated, getting free entertainment and keeping their cash intact. So the crucial point is that they were incredibly strategic with their money, right up until raw emotion got involved. On Day 50, exactly halfway through the whole ordeal, they were offered a brief 10-minute visit from their parents, who were standing right outside the door, along with a cake for Susie's mom's birthday. They willingly dropped 20 grand for that incredibly brief hit of human connection. They even called it the best 10K ever spent, per person, even though having to go back into that isolated cube afterward was completely devastating. Part 3. The Cost of Comfort. That emotional devastation signals a major shift in the room. The mild boredom of the early days was entirely gone. On day 60, things took a turn. The creator brought in a giant mystery box. The price tag on it? $50,000. It was a massive, risky gamble. Susie and Bailey debated it heavily, terrified it wouldn't match the value of the money they'd be giving up. Ultimately, to protect their precious prize pool, they rejected the box. Well, that turned out to be a devastating mistake. The creator opened the rejected box right in front of them to reveal not only their $50,000 right back, but the keys to 2 brand new Teslas. They had literally walked away from free dream cars. And this completely fractured their peace. Susie was absolutely sick over it, agonizing over those lost Teslas for 9 miserable days straight. So by day 70, they were completely broken. The creator brought back everything they had previously rejected: the beds, the shaft, the movies, the spices, plus a brand new mystery box. But this time, it was a blind auction. If they bid even 1 penny below the creator's hidden number, they would get absolutely nothing. Desperate to regain some comfort and sanity, they submitted a massive mega bid of $100,101. They won the auction, instantly transforming their bleak cube into a luxurious, fully furnished vacation space. And they even discovered the new mystery box contained 2 smaller, different Teslas. Let's break down the economics of this. Just how much of their $500,000 did they sacrifice? Well, from a starting pool of $500K, they lost $20K for the day 30 comforts, another $20K for the family visit, and over $100K for the day 70 megabid. Their final prize pool shrank to $359,899. Basically, they paid a massive premium just to survive the intense psychological pressure of that room. Yet, beautifully illustrating human nature, getting all that luxury didn't automatically make them happier. It actually kind of amplified their annoyances. Susie just wanted to retreat, take a shower, read her books, and watch movies. Bailey, on the other hand, was wired with energy, throwing 3 a.m. raves with flashing lights. The friction in there was palpable. They had all the comforts in the world now, but as Bailey famously said, his dogs were barking and he just wanted to be saved from the room. Part 4, the ultimate trust test. Let's move to the climactic twist on day 99 and see how this builds to a truly terrifying finish. With just 24 hours remaining on the clock, the creator entered the room and dropped the exact same blindfolds they wore on day 1 back onto the table. It was a gut punch. They suddenly realized that surviving the 100 days wasn't the final hurdle. Their friendship and their trust was about to be tested one last time. And this brilliantly illustrates classic game theory. They were forced into a high-stakes prisoner's dilemma. Here are the brutal mechanics. If they both choose split, they each walk away with roughly $180,000. If one chooses split and the other chooses steal, the stealer takes the entire $360,000 pool and the splitter gets absolutely nothing. But if they both press steal, the entire prize vanishes and they both walk away with $0. The suspense here is just immense. Imagine sitting there in total silence with headphones on, completely unable to communicate, knowing that one single button press from the person sitting next to you could wipe out 100 days of absolute suffering. Will the shared trauma of isolation result in a ruthless betrayal for a massive payday or total solidarity? When the room finally lit up green, the relief was incredible. They both chose to split the money. Susie reasoned that after overcoming such incredibly dark times together, they both deserved half. The shared trauma ultimately forged a bond strong enough to choose solidarity over greed, and they both got to walk out hundreds of thousands of dollars richer. Which leaves us with the ultimate question. If you were stripped of the outside world, completely deprived of sunlight and time, and pushed to your absolute psychological limits for 100 days, when that final button was put in front of you, would you split the reward with your companion, or would you steal it all? Think about that for a bit, and keep exploring how our minds work under pressure. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.